Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty, justice. And please remain standing. Jason, please. Please be seated. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of myself and the ELHS Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, we want to welcome you to the 2024 Hall of Fame induction ceremony, honoring the classes of 2022 and 2023. My name is Josh Martin. I'm the chairman of the Hall of Fame Committee, and we believe we've got a very good slate of candidates today, and we're very privileged and proud to put this event on for them. So I just want to give a few thank yous before we start today. I'm going to thank the Hall of Fame Committee. There's 15 of us. It's a group effort to put this event on, so I want to thank everyone. We've been working on this for the past year and a half. So I want to thank all the committee members for their sacrifice and tireless efforts to make this happen today. So you please give them a round of applause. I also want to thank several people that are volunteering their time and talents here today. Jimmy Joe Savage, Jason Croxall. I want to thank Bob and Robin's Flowers for the plants and the corsages that were donated today. Jeff Creefer, who was here the last week, putting up the backdrop and doing a lot of the construction work, including the cabinetry that you'll see in the hallway when you leave today. Tri-State Supply for donating the supplies for our brunch this morning, and all of the staff here at ELHS. They partner with us, the custodial and the maintenance staff, to get things moved around and get the logistics together this week. So we want to thank all of the staff at the high school for their help with this. We've got 10 great inductees today that we're going to be presenting to you. So covering a variety of years of traditions here in Potter sports, inductees from the 60s and the 90s and clear up until just very recent days. So we're very pleased and honored to have the people here today that we have. Just a few housekeeping things. If you have to leave during a speech, please do so quietly and exit the doors to the back as quickly as you can. There are restrooms out there if they are needed. We will have the inductees on the stage, and we'll introduce the presenters one at a time. And we have asked, new for this year, for this induction ceremony, we've instituted a new rule that we would like to call the Robert Shansky rule. And it's any inductee whose speech reaches the 15-minute time frame, Mr. Croxall has been instructed to cut off their mic, and our master of ceremonies, Joe Porter, will jump up and tackle them. So just a fair warning to our inductees. So I'll segue into that with our introduction of our Master of Ceremonies today. And it's my privilege and honor, and I can't think of very many former Potter student athletes that exemplify what it means to be a great Potter, but actually what it exemplifies to be a greater human being, and that's Henry J. Joe Porter. Joe is a PNC Insurance senior executive with almost 40 years of experience. He is currently the CEO and president of HJP UW Excellence LLC that specializes in underwriting and product management effectiveness and efficiency to improve P&L results. His company leverages AI, technology, and leadership development to create the best-in-class underwriting environments. Joe has served in various leadership and executive roles with Farmers, Nationwide, and Allstate insurance companies. Joe is currently on the board of directors for the New Covenant Believers Church and Destiny Center for Recovery. He has past board of director experience serving at Ronald McDonald House Charities of Central Ohio and Mansion Day School of Columbus. He enjoys serving in the men's ministry, marriage empowerment zones, and Saturday morning prayer groups at his church. Joe is a 1979 graduate of East Liverpool High School, where he starred in football, basketball, and track. He was a 2019 inductee to our Sports Hall of Fame. He went on to play football and graduate from Colorado State University, where he was a 4-year starter, letterman, and an all-conference selection and captain. He also has a master's in business, an MBA, Master's in Business Administration from Lake Forest School of Management. In his now downsized spare time, Joe enjoys grilling, listening to music, and hanging out poolside with his grandchildren, Luke and Jubilee. He resides in Columbus, Ohio, and in Savannah, Georgia, with his wife, Tamara, and their daughter, Taylor. Please give a round of applause for our Master of Ceremonies, Joe Porter.
How's everybody doing today? Great, great. Let me go ahead and start with the invocation. We bow our heads, please. Dear Lord, we thank you this day and our ability to see it, celebrate it, and rejoice in it. This morning, we invite you into our ceremony. For today, we celebrate the East Liverpool High School Sports Hall of Fame induction class of 2024. We pray, O Lord, for your continued guidance and blessings. We are thankful that this stellar class of inductees are here to be honored with their families and can celebrate together their work and their accomplishments. Lord, we pray your favor, fellowship, and new friendships as we bring 10 more into the Hall of Fame family. Legacies stand the test of time, but still fall short compared to the everlasting love, your grace, and your mercy. Thank you, Lord, for the multitude of blessings that you have bestowed upon us. On this day, we give you praise and we give you honor and thanks in your precious name for the glory of your kingdom. Amen. All righty, before we get started, we have some special dignitaries here that I'd just like to call out. And usually when you do something like this, it is inevitable that you're going to miss someone. So I'm asking for grace in that. But Josh Martin, Hall of Fame chairman and Hall of Fame inductee. Mr. Alonzo Spencer, committee member and Hall of Fame inductee. Mark Douglas, my mentee, committee member and Hall of Fame inductee. Joey Wines, committee member and Hall of Fame inductee. Scott Thornberry, committee and Hall of Fame inductee. We were in the same class, go Scott. Carrie Hill, committee member, Hall of Fame inductee. Jennifer Lugwood, committee member, Hall of Fame inductee. Bob Duffy, Hall of Fame inductee. Mr. Frank Dawson, Mr. East Liverpool. We just need to give Frank a round of applause by himself, folks. Frank, the gratitude for what you've meant to this high school and to this city cannot be measured, but just know, man, from the heart, we love you and thank you. Josh Lugwood, Hall of Fame inductee and presenter. We were in the same class. Jonathan Lugwood, East Liverpool High School superintendent. Jason Duke, East Liverpool High School Athletic Director, and Jeff Creefer, East Liverpool City Councilman, and we were neighbors. And our first inductee is going to be Jim Tice, who is deceased. He is going to, accepting for Jim is John Tice, and James Tice will be presenting. James, if you come on up.
Good morning. It's a great day to be in Ohio right now, in this moment. We're all here to recognize some sports greats from East Liverpool. I grew up in a sports home, a sports family. I remember as a child all the way up through high school, my grandparents, Jim and Dorothy Tice, made it to every event, every game, rain, blizzard, overnight trips. They were always there for everything, always dressed in our gear, ready to go. Grandma never told you that meant the world to me and Jay. You guys were always there for us, and my mother, Brenda, as well. My grandfather, Jim Tice, was not only in attendance, but he was very vocal, very involved. He coached from all parts of the field or the gym, whether he was a coach, a fan, or a volunteer. Not only did he care about the teams that I was playing on, but he cared about the opposing teams that we played against. After the game, he would go up to the opposing team's players and pull a couple of them aside. He'd put his arm around them and praise them on their game and let them know tips and tricks on what they could work on as a young athlete to improve their game. The year I really caught on to it, I was probably in 8th or 9th grade. Obviously, we met with teams twice a season, once at home, once at away. After the game, like I mentioned, I noticed my grandfather going to the opposing teams and pulling them aside. At first, they were complete strangers, but he had their full attention. They knew that he knew what he was talking about when it came to sports and his knowledge. When the second meeting of the season came around and we were playing at the opposing team's home court in this situation, I noticed that the same two players reached out and actually went and seeked out for my grandfather. And I was kind of far away, so I kind of just caught a little nip of it. The young player, one of the individuals that they were talking to, he was talking to, I'm very nervous. One of the younger players told my grandfather, "I did what you told me to," and they all smiled. And my grandfather's response was, "I noticed that you've been working on it." That bond that he created with everyone that he came across just simply amazed me. Amazed how much he cared and shared his sports knowledge with strangers and how they reacted to him, and applied their shared knowledge to the game and their life. He definitely is one of my sports heroes, one of my three. My second sports hero is my brother John, sitting right here in the front row, and the third being my father. My grandfather obviously had an impact that individuals that he came across will carry with them for the rest of their lives. It is my honor on behalf of myself, my grandmother, my entire family, to present my grandfather, Jim Tice, into the induction in the East Liverpool Hall of Fame. Accepting on his behalf is my father, John Tice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Obviously, me and Mike did not compare notes, because some of the stuff that he just spoke about, I'm going to speak about as well. First of all, let me say what a great event this is. I'm honored to stand here today to represent my dad, Jim Tice. He would be very, very humbled and extremely honored to be inducted into this special club, the East Liverpool High School Potter Athletic Hall of Fame. He loved East Liverpool, and he loved the Potters. He would congratulate his fellow inductees and be honored to enter the Hall of Fame with them. He would thank Josh and the committee for selecting him and all the hard work it takes to put on an event like this. He would also thank the sponsors for their supportive and thoughtful ads in the program. He would have thanked all the athletes that played hard for him, the coaches, the sponsors, the umpires, league officials, parents that supported him. He'd especially thank two fellow Potter graduates, one of which has been named already, Bob Duffy, Hall of Famer Bob Duffy, and if I may say, future Potter Alumni Hall of Fame, Edna Anderson, for their support of his induction. He'd also thank all of those in attendance today, including his family, some of which traveled all the way from the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. And lastly, and certainly the most important person that my dad would thank today, would be his wife, my mom, Dorothy, whom at the time of his passing, they'd been married for 66 years. Mom, can you please stand? Colton, can you give her a hand? All right, all that work, you got to wave. All right. Thank you. You know that quote, behind every great man is a strong woman? My mom was not only behind him, she was beside him, and sometimes she was even in front of him with her support. My parents met on St. George Street in the East End when they were 10 years old. They lived across the street from one another, as my dad, with his parents, lived over top of a grocery store in a one-bedroom apartment that they owned and operated. It's important to note that during my dad's high school years, he tried out for and made the high school basketball, baseball, football teams, and he was a good athlete. But he was never allowed to play because my grandfather told him, sorry, you got to work after school every day at the store. We don't have time for that practice stuff. So after graduation in 1954, my parents married in 56 and started their own family in 57. And his love of sports continued now that he was away from the store, so he played basketball in the men's league at the Y, coached and played fast-pitch softball at the Foundry in East End, Chester City Park, and at the league in Salem. I believe the fact that he was not allowed to play only fueled his passion to be involved in, promote, and help others in their sports endeavors, as stated in his bio and was stated by my son Mike. So around 1963, his youth sports involvement and coaching span of over 50 years began. Later to be included was umpiring through all levels, baseball and softball, all the way up through high school varsity. And he was still umpiring varsity high school softball at 80 years old. So you may ask, how did a guy that was never a head coach at Beaver Local, where he's a Hall of Famer, or now in East Liverpool, where he's now a Hall of Famer, how did someone like that, and he never played a sport, how did he get into the high school Hall of Fame and become a member of this great Hall of Fame? I believe he's the only person to be inducted into both of those. Amazing when you think about it. He was an ordinary man that accomplished extraordinary things. You may have coached with him or against him, played for him or against him, witnessed his dedication and hard work in building new leagues, teams, and creating new opportunities for those where there were no opportunities before. If you're old like me, you may remember junior high basketball tournaments that were held at East Junior and at Westgate in the mid to late 60s. My dad created, organized, and ran those tournaments. You may have played in, coached, or witnessed a game he umpired and saw his always positive attitude and offering of encouragement and advice if asked. You and others may have even shared, either purposely or unwittingly, a bit of knowledge that you took from him. Imagine the perpetuation of that over a 50-plus year time span. His legacy lives on. Just like the Hall of Famers behind me or beside me and those in the audience. His dedication, selflessness, and leadership may have inspired thousands. Thousands? Let me tell you how I can say that. Let's start with a low number. If my dad only inspired or passed on knowledge to 10 people a year, a player, a coach, umpire, parent, and he did it for 50 years, that's 500 already. Now that coach, player, umpire, or parent goes on, and then they only inspire or pass on knowledge that they gained from my dad to only one other person. That's another 500. We're already to 1,000. Then some of those players became coaches and passed on to their players what they may have learned from my dad. Players grow up and become parents themselves and maybe coaches themselves. And it continues. That's what makes East Liverpool and Potter sports history so great. Not just in East Liverpool, but all over the country. How? Because people move now easily all over the country, and they take with them what they've learned and they pass it on. And my dad made such an impact that we find him here today. He passed away in 2022, and if he were here today, he'd be 88 years old. But he really is still here. Some in the audience may have benefited in a positive way by him, either directly or indirectly, and whether realized or seen, his presence here on earth, and specifically here in East Liverpool, continues to grow and expand like branches on a tree. His legacy and passion for sports also lives on through his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We got some of the great-grandchildren here today. We got a baseball player, we got 2 softball players, we got a soccer player. And we got a 3-year-old future T-baller somewhere. Everyone's heard about that dash on your tombstone. The one between your birth date and your death date. Well, my dad's dash continues to grow to this day. He was an ordinary man that accomplished extraordinary things. The quote by Mark Twain, and repeated many times by a guy that some of you may have heard of, I think his name is Lou Holtz. He likes to say two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Everyone knows the day they were born, but do you know why you were born? I now know why my dad was born, and I believe he knew it too. He didn't just coach the sport, he coached the person. He always strived to see the best in everyone, inspire them to be their best. He had the respect of talented and intelligent people, but he got along with and treated everyone with respect, from the custodian to the superintendent. He left this world a better place because of his impact and those that he left behind. This is success. Sports by themselves are not very important. I repeat, sports, the games, are not that important. But the life lessons learned from them are paramount to success in life. Those lessons being hard work, determination, respect, honor, sportsmanship, persistence, patience, integrity, attitude, teamwork, trust, accountability, passion, and fun. Again, my dad would be so very proud to be a member of the Potter Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you all for remembering him and honoring him in this way. Thank you, and go Potters. Get my mom down there. She's going down.
So as was mentioned in the speeches, regrettably, on May the 11th of 2022, we did lose our friend, Mr. Jim Tice. But it is my honor today as the chairman of the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee to present his plaque and his Hall of Fame pin and his membership card to his beloved wife, Dorothy, who's here in the front row. Can we please give her a round of applause? And Jimmy Joe, could you come forward, please?
All righty. Thank you. Throughout the course of this ceremony, I'm going to give a couple quotes. They're not mine, but I thought they would be appropriate for this time, and I thought you'd appreciate them. First one I'm going to give is never say never because of limits. Like fear, limits are often an illusion that you should be able to play through. Our next inductee, I actually got to meet for the first time yesterday, and it's been a pleasure talking with him and enjoying the secret handshake. You may ask yourself, what is the secret handshake? It's not necessarily that we're both our inductees. The secret handshake is between offensive linemen. That's the secret handshake. So it is my pleasure to offer up Lou Volino, class of 1970, to the Hall of Fame, and his presenter is his son, Louis. Louis, come on up.
Everyone. Today, I have the great honor of introducing someone very special to me, someone I admire greatly and look up to more than he'll ever realize. My dad, Lou Volino. Where do you begin when you're introducing someone like him? There are so many places I could start, but since this is his induction to the East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame, I'll begin with some of his outstanding athletic accomplishments. He was a 3-year letter winner in football, with 1969, his senior year, being the most impressive. That year, the program started without a coach, yet the team went 7-2. Instrumental in that year was my dad. And as you can imagine, to go 7-2 while starting without a coach requires leadership, and my dad was named team MVP and Bill Booth Award winner that season. He also was named first team All-County, first team All-District, and honorable mention All-State. Years later, reminiscing about that team, he told me that there were games he played every position on defense except for defensive back. And while defense was his favorite, renowned East Liverpool historian Digger Dawson has him ranked as a first-team offensive guard in Potter football history. His athletic achievements didn't stop there. My dad would go on to earn a full ride scholarship at Miami, Ohio University, and he played linebacker. His senior year, he played alongside over 10 NFL players, and his team finished in the top 15 in the nation, with the #1 ranked defense in the country. Impressive accomplishments to say the least, but that doesn't tell the whole story of who my father truly is. Being completely honest, that doesn't even scratch the surface. Lou Volino is a man of remarkable character, dedication, and hard work. His integrity is impeccable, and his commitment to help others is second to none. After his playing career was over, my dad was a teacher and a business owner. Many of you in this room either had him in class or had a dinner or two at his restaurant. I was always proud how his former students respected him and how his entire staff looked at him as a father figure. Today, as a father of two myself, I appreciate him even more, and I'm thankful for the role model he has not only been for me, but for our entire community. Simply put, he has made the world a better place. He has inspired others to be the best versions of themselves, and he has created an incredible legacy of excellence, hard work, and integrity for future generations to aspire to reach. In my opinion, he could be inducted into Life's Hall of Fame. But today, please join me in welcoming my father, Lou Volino, into the East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
That was, choked me up a little. I can't believe that I'm standing here today, but mainly because I got 2 new knees, 2 hips, reconstructed shoulder, and multiple other parts put back together. But I'd do it all over again. I really love football. First off, I'd like to thank the committee for honoring me and being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I never imagined this when I was at St. Aloysius School when I first started. I've had the privilege of playing with some amazing athletes and competing against some of the best. Just in the 4 years that I was in high school, there was over 20 football players that got scholarships to colleges, and over seven were playing in Division I. There was many more that could have too. Our schedule was very competitive. Some of the teams we played were Cleveland St. Joe, Warren West Reserve, Archbishop Carroll, they were out of Washington, D.C. We played Warren West Reserve, Dayton Dunbar, Aliquippa, this just naming a few. Alliance, we played them, they were in the All-American Conference, which probably had some of the best teams in the state, like Massillon, Canton McKinley, Warren West Reserve. And without playing that competition, I don't think I'd be here. My coaches, they were the best. I started in St. Aloysius in 7th and 8th grade, went on to high school, and then on to Miami University. I have to mention that going into my senior year, my son already said, we didn't have a coach. We ended up starting 2-a-days with one coach. And for 3 days, we did calisthenics and that, waiting to get our coaching staff. And finally, the third day, everybody showed up, the whole staff. And that year, we ended up going 7-2. But I have to tell you too, during June, when we should have been doing our preseason workouts, we didn't have any coaches, so the players got together, and we ended up going up to Thompson Park, and we held our own preseason practices. We had around 40 kids show up daily. So the 69 season, as I said, we averaged 31 points a game on offense. And on defense, we held our opponent to 9. Of course, that season we went 7-2. We had to overcome many obstacles that year, but we kept our focus. I want to thank my family for always being there and supporting me, my brother for setting the bar high for sports, my sister for being a tackling dummy in the yard. We used to practice with her, or on her. Anyways, my mother and father, they let me off work to play the game. Teammates, it was an absolute privilege to share the field with you. The memories we made, the victories, the challenges that we had to overcome, we did it together, and they'll never be forgotten. And everyone else who've been part of this journey, fans, friends, mentors, thank you. You've all played a part in shaping my career, and I'm incredibly grateful. To the other inductees, it's an honor to be inducted with you. Great coach, athletes that have so many accomplishments. And I must say, I want a special thanks to Bob Duffy and Digger Dawson. Appreciate you for everything you've done. You're great historians of athletics here. This induction isn't just about me or us on the stage. It's about all of us. It's the celebration of the relationship we built and the passions we shared. I must mention my support system now. My son, my daughter, their spouses, our families, my grandkids, and especially my wife, Michelle, with 2 L's. Thank you.
If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. That feels like a lot of what these guys behind me have done throughout their careers, just making sure that there was no barrier that they could not overcome. This moment, if you hadn't figured out, is special. It is unbelievably special. And when Josh called me to do this, it actually gave me chills up and down my spine, just thinking about the legacy that's left with being inducted into the East Liverpool High School Sports Hall of Fame. On my way in, driving from Columbus, I was doing a business call and ended up talking with a lady from Western Pennsylvania, and we started talking about this valley, Ohio Valley football and sports, and how important it is and what it means to this community. And it's recognized throughout, not only throughout Ohio, but I'd argue throughout the United States. Our next inductee is Chuck Harris. Chuck is probably considered one of the most premier football players in Potter history. Is regarded as one of the greatest defensive players that we've had wear the blue and white. The presenter for Chuck is actually Randy Calhoun. And a little bit later, I'll talk about how important coaches are in your progression, in all of our progressions. But that man right there, Randy Calhoun, there's going to be a special place in heaven. I say, a place with a view when Randy gets there, because he's impacted a lot of folks, and I'm one of those, and I'm proud to call him coach and remember that he has sowed a lot into my life. Randy, why don't you come on up?
Wow, that light is bright, you guys. My. There we go. Okay, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all the great Potter athletes being inducted here today, and thank my former student, athlete, and Potter Hall of Famer, Joe Porter. I've always been proud of you, Joe. I love you. Okay, I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, the job they do. You're so unappreciated, so unappreciated. Everybody has somebody wants to say, why is this guy not in, or why is that guy not in? And you guys work hard at it year round, and it's just fantastic, and I really appreciate you. Now I want to thank Chuck's family, his son Dustin particularly, for giving me the honor and privilege of presenting Chuck Harris finally into this Hall of Fame. He was first team All-Ohio defensive end back when there were only 3 divisions, Camp McKinley, all the big boys, and he was voted first team. And as mentioned before, he was also first team all-time Potter, so he's one of the 11 best defensive football players to come out of East Liverpool. And anybody that saw him play will agree with that. Now, if you indulge me for a minute, I'm not going to be able to see this, but I wanted to see if everybody that's capable of, if you're over 70 years old, would you please stand up? Just for a second. Just give me a second. Stand up. If you're over 70. Yeah, I know it's going to take a while. How many are up there? Are there a dozen more? All right. Well, you guys, us standing, including me, I'm over 70, we're the only ones in this room that were lucky enough to see Chuck Harris play football, because he played in 1967. So if you were 13 at that time, you would be 70 now. So you can sit down now. But I wanted to show that demonstration that hardly anybody got to see him play. You can't find a film on him, but he was special, very special. Now, when trying to figure out how to explain how great a football player Chuck was, I couldn't find anywhere his stats, like his sacks, interceptions, fumbles caused, fumbles recovered, tackles for losses. But those numbers way up there for him to have earned the accolades he earned back in the day. Several people around here, when you ask him who the toughest player you saw play was, and there's a lot of tough football players, but Chuck Harris's name comes up lots of times as the toughest player to ever put on a uniform. I talked to several teammates recently when I knew I was going to be presenting Chuck, and asked them about Chuck. And to the man, they said that they practiced harder and played harder because they didn't want to let Chuck down. And they didn't want to get that look from Chuck of disappointment. So they practiced hard and worked hard. There are certain qualities, I think, that an athlete in a specific sport has. Golfing skills are different from baseball, basketball, football. But 3 such qualities I believe in a football player. I got a visual aid for you here, so I wouldn't forget it. Speed. No matter what position you play in football, speed is a valuable asset. Speed can be measured. That's a skill that can be measured. Most notably, the 40-yard dash. Chuck possessed what some people call speed to spare. He was one of the quickest guys on the team at about 185 pounds playing defensive end. Agility. Agility can be measured. It's a quality a football player can be measured with several different drills. Charlie Kidder had cat-like agility. He could get around a defensive tackle or get around a running back trying to block him, and the guy wouldn't even know he was there. He was that quick and he was that agile. Strength. Another measurable attribute of a good football player is strength. You can measure it easily, bench pressing, curls, squats, whatever. And Chuck was one of the strongest guys on the team. So if you had speed and you had agility and you had strength, you had a chance to be a good football player. And Chuck had all three of those things. Now there are a couple things that you have that aren't measurable. You cannot measure. And the first one of those, and all athletes will agree, is heart. Heart is defined as someone who has a strong, courageous, determined attitude. You cannot measure heart, but you just know when an athlete has it. Now, number 23/24, Chuck Harris played with enormous heart. And finally, what I think is the most important, and I hope everybody's heard of this, and I'm sure you have, it's the it factor. You've probably heard coaches and sports commentators talk about the it factor. It's something used to describe that is hard to define, but it has a powerful impact. A concept that describes an intangible trait that some athletes are born with that helps them succeed in sports. It is often described as a trait that is unquantifiable, but that can be seen without being told. It often imitated, but cannot be developed or duplicated. A great football player either has it or he doesn't. Chuck Harris had strength, agility, speed, heart, and the it factor. That's what made him the great player he was. And now I want to explain, when you heard me talk about heart, when I said the player number 23, number 24. You see, Chuck Harris' jersey had 23 on the front. So the opposing team would see him come running in, and when the quarterback picked himself off the ground, he said, "Would somebody please stop number 23? And then they'd turn around and look to see, and when they saw him walking away, Chuck Harris had number 24 on the back of his jersey. And that's a true story. Chuck got away with that for 5 or 6 games. Finally, one time, an opposing coach, while studying film, called Coach Bob McNay up and said, "Look, that kid plays like 2 or 3 kids at one time. Could you at least give him one number so we know who to go after?" And that's a true story. That came from Bob McNay years ago. Years ago. Well, that's all I have to say about Chuck. He's an amazing football player. I'm sorry more people didn't get to see him play. I saw him play many games, many games. He was fantastic. Before I turn this over, Chuck couldn't make it today. I again want to thank the committee for getting it right and all the hard work you guys do. And I'm going to say something now, and I hope I don't get that look from Dustin that his dad gives people. But the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. This young man here has the it factor and enormous heart. A 2-time state wrestling champ for Beaver Local. His son, Dustin.
There may be more people, there may be people that have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you. That's a Derek Jeter quote. Our next inductee, this is probably the 6 degrees of separation, is Lindsay Baker, class of 2017. and I just confirmed that she played with my niece, Kiera Cord, which is interesting. That means I've watched you play in some place in the state of Ohio, so great deal. And Lindsay probably still has, I think, school records in both shot put and discus. Tremendous field athlete for East Liverpool, and have gone on to done some great things across the United States, to include Ashland University and The Ohio State University. Lindsay, her presenter is going to be Scott Thornberry. Scott, come on up.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. First of all, I want to thank all the inductees up here. I got to see all of them play. Matter of fact, 7 of them I had in school and or coached them at one point in time. And I'm very proud of them, very proud that I had the opportunity to work with these young people. What can I say about Lindsay? I promised I wouldn't embarrass her. So I'm not going to do that. I can remember when I met her, she was in 7th grade, had dirt on her face, you know, just like any normal 7th grader. Her mom wanted Dan Beatty and me to work with her in the discus. And it took her like 2 throws before she mastered the spin, just like that. And she started throwing that discus pretty far as a 7th, 8th grader. She got into high school. She threw the shot put. She hated the shot put. She didn't like it. She says, I don't like the shot put. It doesn't go as far. And I says, I guarantee you by the time you graduate, you are going to love the shot put. Well, she won the state championship in the shot put, won a national championship in the shot put, and I think she ended up liking it pretty well. And it was great to work with her and watch her grow and go on to college. We went and saw her. I was still coaching at the time, so I couldn't go see her outdoor too often, but I would go indoor meets. I'd go up to Youngstown, Kent, Mount Union, and she was always there. My wife and me drove to Pittsburgh, Kansas to watch her throw in the indoor championships. Unfortunately, she finished 2nd, but boy, it was a fun meet to watch. So without any further ado, you didn't come to hear me talk. You heard to come these people talk. I'd like to introduce Lindsay Baker.
Bear with me, I'm very nervous. Thank you, Coach, for a wonderful introduction, and I can't thank you enough for the unconditional love and support that I received from both you and Nancy. What an honor it is to receive this. Growing up, I never really understood the importance of being in the sports that I was in, let alone being a female in sports. You don't fully understand the impact that you have until you're on the world stage and have other young athletes looking up to you. I used to just tell myself that I was an active kid with a dash of ADHD that just so happened to be good at sports. Once I found those coaches and friends that truly believed in me and pushed me to be my best, that's when I really felt that I was able to live up to my full athletic potential. And for that, I thank the East Liverpool community for showing me that I could be more than I ever thought. Even though most people saw only successes, some got to see me at my absolute lowest, and knowing that they stuck by me and supported me through those times mean more than I can ever put into words. One thing I will say, and I will always mean it, is take care of yourself, take care of the things and the people that you love, know your worth, and never apologize for loving someone or something too much. Thank you to my family for always supporting me, traveling to any sporting event I was in, and loving me through the ups and downs of life, even if sometimes it was tough love. To my mom and Graham, or some of you might know them as Thelma and Louise. Because of you guys, I had all the new gear. I was able to travel, able to create new memories, and live a flourishing life. Also, thank you, Mother, for the athletic gene. I'm so honored to be on the same wall as you. Where'd I go? To my siblings who taught me about life a little more ruthless, thank you for taking me outside and spiking a volleyball at me until I learned to not bump it back with my face. Thank you for taking me to your high school basketball court at 10 p.m., shining your car lights on the court, and putting me in games with you and your friends, even though I was 6 years apart. And I'm also sorry to Addie for pushing you down the steps while we were racing up them. Thank you to my stepdad, Rich. You may have supported afar while Thelma and Louise traveled, but you have had such a positive impact on this family. And I thank you for dealing with us, even though we can be a handful at times. I love you guys so much, and thank you for being one of the main reasons why I'm standing in front of everybody today. I would like to give a special thank you to my friend in heaven, Jasmine Call. She kept asking me before I transferred here to come to her track meets, and I obviously agreed, but was dreading having to sit through in my mind a lecture, because it was a meeting. Later down the road, I figured out obviously what it was, and we would talk about being on the team together, and we were amped to be bus buddies. That same summer is when we lost her, and is the only reason why I ever thought about trying out for track and field. One thing I will leave you with that was said by my former coach, mentor, father figure, and four-time Olympian, Judd Logan. When you wake up in the morning, promise yourself you will be 1% better than the person you were yesterday. No matter what you do in life, be confident. Good, better, best. Never rest until the good is better and the better becomes the best. Being a new coach at the University of North Dakota, I hope to coach and encourage my athletes to be the absolute best, just like my coaches did for me. Thank you to everyone who had a helping hand in nominating me for this, and congratulations to all the other inductees up here with me. I'm so thankful to have had the opportunity to thrive here as a student athlete, and I cannot wait for what is in store. Go Potters.
The wall is in your mind and playing tricks on you. You just need to say one more step. I can do this. I have one more rep in me. You'll be so proud of yourself once you push past that threshold. And as I was reading through the backgrounds, the one that felt like it just connected with that quote was Tony Misk. Tony, class of 2007, excelled in track and field, football, and basketball. A tremendous athlete who still holds a number of records both in track and in basketball. Tony, you have an outstanding background in history, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. And the presenter for Tony will be Joey Wines. Come on up, Joey.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here to celebrate our esteemed inductees, including my fellow 2007 graduates, Eric DiAgusta and Tony Metsch. I am truly honored to speak about someone who has not only been an exceptional athlete, but also a great friend. Today, we are here to recognize Tony Metsch, who is being inducted into the East Liverpool Athletic Hall of Fame for his outstanding contributions in both track, basketball, and football. From the moment Tony stepped onto the field and track, it was evident that we were witnessing something extraordinary. Tony's dedication, passion, and sheer talent were unmistakable. Tony set records, led teams to victories, and perhaps most importantly, inspired everyone around him to strive for excellence. In football, Tony was more than just a player, he was the leader. Whether it was a crucial catch or a game-changing defensive play, you could always count on him to rise to the occasion. During our football career, he made my job easier by getting himself open and making a catch. To this day, Tony still holds the single season's reception record at East Liverpool, although it could have been a few more if he, didn't drop a few. Tony wasn't the biggest guy on the field, but Tony did not shy away from contact and was a defensive standout in the secondary. On the track, Tony displayed the same determination and spirit. His speed, motor, and agility were matched only by his relentless pursuit of improvement. Every meet was another opportunity for him to push his limits, and he consistently left his competitors in awe. Tony talked me into running track our senior year, and I was blown away by Tony's ability to do every single event he participated in at a high level. Hence, one of the reasons why he broke the single season's points record set by former Olympian Eric Long. He also had the 800-meter record until this year when it was broken by Julius Jones. But beyond his athletic achievements, it is Tony's character that truly sets him apart. He is the epitome of sportsmanship, always ready to offer a word of encouragement to his teammates and competitors alike. His humility in victory and grace in defeat have made him a role model for all who had the privilege of knowing him. Today, as we induct Tony into the Hall of Fame, we celebrate not just his remarkable achievements, but also the positive impact he has had on our school and community. His legacy will continue to inspire future generations of athletes to strive for both greatness on and off the field. Please join me in congratulating Tony on this well-deserved honor. We are all incredibly proud of you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Anybody knows me, my biggest fear is public speaking. That being said, I'll make this short and sweet. Thank you, Joey, for all the kind words. I'd also like to thank the committee for nominating me this year. I had the privilege of playing 3 sports at East Liverpool: football, basketball, and track, like Joey said. I learned a lot from all 3 of them, to be competitive and to push myself to the max at all moments. I'd like to thank all the coaches throughout the years that supported me. One man in particular, Scott Thornberry. He was not only a coach, but was a good friend. He always pushed me. He always wanted the best for me till today. I'd also like to thank my family and friends, my players over the years that I played with. I'd like to thank my mother-in-law, my mom that sacrificed a lot for me over the years. She was a single parent, and she was always trying to get to every game, always made sure that I had everything that I always needed. I'd like to thank my father-in-law, my wife, thank Frank Dawson for over the years for all the great memories that he let me go on a train with him to South Bend, Indiana. Last but not least, in the words of Frank Dawson, go Potters.
This is where we get a paid political advertisement here. And it's just like I just was compelled to give respect and homage to Frank Dawson, but I also need to do that for all the coaches here, because I think I speak for the group. We wouldn't be where we are without the coaches that sewed into us. So a huge round of applause for all the coaches that are out there, for the future coaches that are out there. And for those who are wondering, what is my next calling? What is my noble profession? Coaching is it. Whether you're coaching on the field, on the court, or even in the boardroom, always take moments to coach, develop, and watch the personal growth of people. It is one of the most rewarding things that you can do for yourself and others. Always make a total effort, even when the odds are stacked against you. make a total effort. Our next inductee was beyond total effort. As I look at the accomplishments of Austin Mayfield, Austin was a stud. Let's be clear about this. You look at the records he has both on the gridiron. It's pretty clear he could be the single best quarterback in the history of East Liverpool High School, and that's saying a lot for the talent that's come through these doors. But not only was he a great quarterback holding a ton of records, but he's also an outstanding wrestler with over 132 wins. That is just phenomenal. So without further ado, our next inductee is Austin Mayfield, and the presenter is going to be Coach Josh Ludwig.
I had wrote good morning and good afternoon because in 2018 when we did this and Bob Chansey got to speak, I think it was around midnight by the time we finished. And we all you remember that. Okay. Well, now it's going to be good afternoon. It's an incredible honor to stand here and speak about one of the most remarkable athletes that I had the privilege to coach. Austin Mayfield, from the moment that he stepped onto the field at East Liverpool, it was clear that he was destined for greatness. His natural talent was evident, but it was also his relentless work ethic, leadership, and passion for the game that truly set him apart. Now, I was also Austin's strength coach, where I cannot remember a single session that he missed. And Austin, take a stand up real quick for me. I doubt you would question that if you take a look at his stature today. And even though today is about happiness and fun, I want to, for a moment, just let you know how bad I feel for his shirt's top button that probably snapped off this morning, and that's why he's not wearing a tie today. So Austin does still continue to train. He wasn't just a four-year letterman in football and wrestling, but he was also a force to be reckoned with. On the field, his name is etched in the record books, as they had said, holding numerous records, a single game passing record that I'll always remember, 304 yards, the most passing yards in a single season, 1,714, and the most passing yards in a career, 2,861. Also the most total yards in a season, 2,147, which included passing and rushing. These records are not just numbers, they're a testament to his dedication, his skill, and his ability to rise to the occasion when his teammates needed him most. But Austin's impact wasn't just limited to the football field. On the wrestling mat, he was just as formidable, ranking 4th all-time in East Liverpool with 132 career wins, and that is not an easy sport to participate in. Every year, I would have wrestlers in my classes, and they were usually pretty cranky around OVAC time. They weren't allowed to eat, and every once in a while I'd bring donuts in just to rub that in. It would be a pretty good time for me. But beyond the accolades and awards, including the Bill Booth Award for football, which is a very prestigious award, he also won the Lou Vendetti Award in wrestling. So that season he was considered our best football player and wrestler, which does not happen very often. But what I admire most about Austin is his character. He was an athlete who led by example. He lifted his teammates up. He never backed down from a challenge, and he carried these qualities with him on to West Liberty State College, where he continued to excel in football as a quarterback, linebacker, and punter, earning all MEC honors. Today, Austin continues to serve his community with the same dedication and commitment that made him such an outstanding athlete. As a police officer for St. Clair Township, he's putting those same qualities to work every day, protecting and serving the community that he's always been a part of and loved. Austin, you've left an erasable mark on East Liverpool High School, and I have no doubt that you will continue to achieve greatness. Your legacy isn't just in records you've set, but in lives you've touched and in the inspiration you provided to us all. It was an honor coaching you, and I was honored to have you select me to introduce you today. But I'm even more proud of the man you have become. Congratulations, Austin, and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate the kind words. Just an FYI, I can button my top button. It did not break. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for the amazing celebration of today. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. Sports have always been a part of my life for as long as I can simply remember, whether it be football, wrestling, track, or even baseball. I tried basketball once, and Coach Wines here can attest for this. I found out quickly that you cannot hip toss people in the paint. Once I got older, I finally dialed it down to two main sports and focused and worked hard at them to be the best of them I could be. Wrestling and football were my options, or my choices, I should say, that fit me the best. My journey in wrestling started when I was 4 years old and having my dad lace up my first pair of wrestling shoes and stepping foot into something that would mold me into the person I am today for the next 14 years of my life. Wrestling has taught me so much as commitment, dedication. Without these things, you simply would not step foot on the mat. Wrestling, in my eyes, is one of the most mentally and physically demanding sports. Wrestling took me all over, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, wrestling in nationals, to Virginia Beach, wrestling in the sand. But the most memorable place for me to wrestle was in the Potter Fieldhouse. Although that throughout high school we didn't have many home meets or duels, there was just something about wrestling underneath the lights in the field house. Everything from coming out of the locker room to warming up behind your teammates when you were on deck to checking onto the score table when it was your time to wrestle to taking the line against your opponent. I had done this over a million times, but it always was a different feeling under the gym lights of the Potter Fieldhouse. The only thing close in my eyes to the feeling of pinning someone in the field house was walking down the hill to Patterson Field from the locker room, seeing all the fans, the smell of the river in the air, and nothing sounds quite like the cleats in the gravel. Football started for me at Glenmore Rams when I was around 6 and became my favorite sport pretty quick. I played for the Glenmore Rams for one season before throwing on the blue and white. And I can remember as a kid walking around Patterson Field and just couldn't wait to be one of the big kids playing on the big field. Soon I became that big kid and was playing under the same lights at Patterson Field. Why I love the sport. Football was a part of my life for 17 years. Throughout those years, it had taught me things I may not have known at the time, but helped me become the person I am today. In the game of football, it teaches you adaptability. Football is a constant change in motion between the offense and the defense, and you have to be quick to adapt to these things in order to be successful on the field and drive your team down the field to score. Same thing in life, our everyday jobs. Everything changes constantly. You have to be able to adapt to those things. Football has also taught me perseverance, which I think is probably one of the best life lessons I have taken from football. Perseverance is to do something despite the difficulties in order to achieve success. Simply, life is hard. In order to be successful and do the things we want, we must overcome the challenges it throws at us. Lastly, I'd like to thank my coaches, my teammates, friends and family, but a special thanks to my dad. Thank you for always pushing me to be the best I could be. Even though sometimes we used to butt heads, I know now that it was all because you wanted me to be successful. Mom, thank you for always being my biggest fan. To my big sister and best friend, thank you for always being there for me no matter the case and your endless support. I'd like to thank my grandparents, my brother-in-law, my girlfriend back there, and my new nephew, Jameson. Thanks again, guys, and go Potters.
You know, it's interesting. One of the common themes here, Coach Love was saying being a strength coach, and clearly Austin lifted weights. Most athletes had to. The irony of learning to lift weights, my first strength coach was Coach Calhoun, and he motivated me in a way that no other coach could. And what was it, 7th grade? I think 7th grade in the basement of East Junior, we went down and went to lifting. And he's still about the size he is now, and I'm probably about the size I was back then. And he beat me lifting weights. And I vowed that day that would never, ever, ever, ever happen again. And it wasn't just about 5 years ago I could actually talk about it, you know, because it was one of those things that just scarred me for life. But in any event, thanks for being the strength coach. Here's a quote for you. It's good to be successful, but it's great to be significant. Lou Holtz. Our next inductee is another one that has the secret handshake. August DiAgusta, class of 2007, certainly an accomplished wrestler and football player with a number of records. I believe 113 total wins in wrestling. Senior year was 46-2. And one of the attributes that just caught my eye, aside from the fact that he went to our house, was the fact that they give him the moniker just brute strength. That's cool. That's very cool. So congratulations to Eric, and the presenter for Eric will be John Smith.
Well, I'm pretty high up here. I hope I don't get a nosebleed. I'm usually up here for spelling bees, but anyway. And Coach Thornberry, I do have to say, you know, actually you were my teacher as well, and I just turned 75, so I don't know how old you are. But anyway, I first met Eric DiAgusta when I had his mother actually as a student of mine down at Kent State University, and she had told me about her young son that was at East Elementary, and she said, I think he's gifted. So I returned to school the following day, and we did get him tested, and sure enough, he tested into the gifted program. So that is when I first, you know, started working with him. And here we found out that he turned out to be a very gifted athlete as well, which led him to, of course, be named the All-Area and All-OVAC Wrestler of the Year. He also finished third in the OHSAA Division II State Championship. He had a total of 113 total career wins, and finished his senior year with a record of 46-2. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? This gave him, of course, the 7th all-time record for wrestling here at ELHS. In football, of course, where he was also known for his strength and power on the field, he also became a member of the first team, All-Area and All-OVAC. And also he was offered numerous offers for the NCAA Division I scholarship. And he did, as we have heard, attend The Ohio State University to continue his wrestling career. In 2007, Eric was selected by teachers in the school district, along with Tony and Joey, to be in a publication of inspirational stories. It was a book that we put together called The Potter's Wheel, Molding Vessels of Pride. I will tell you that a lot of people have talked about his strength and everything, you know, and I do have to say this to Austin. When I do show up at the gym and Austin's there, I do everything I can not to show him up. But anyway, yeah, one time we were renovating at our house, and so I called Joey and I said, listen, we need some help. I said, there's no way I can do this on my own. And he called Tony, and next thing you know, they called Eric, and they all showed up. And I was rolling up this huge piece of carpet, and I thought, we're never going to be able to lift this and get it out the window. And I said, well, I'll just, you know, cut it into smaller pieces and everything. And Eric said, get out of the way. He picks this thing up, and out the window it goes, and the rest of us were just standing there looking like, okay, all right. And then we fed them later that day. That was not the good thing. We shouldn't have renovated the house. We needed to refinance to pay for the meals to keep them strong there. But anyway, but Eric currently resides in Columbus, Ohio, and with his beautiful daughter, Gianna. And we are very sorry that Eric was not able to make it. He called me this morning and he said, I was up all night, very sick, and his goal was he wanted to just get back home to Columbus. But Eric, after the Ohio State University, is pursuing a degree in engineering, and his academic abilities have allowed him to maintain a 4.0 grade point average as he is working toward a degree in engineering, as I said. My wife and daughter and I are very, very blessed that we've had Eric in our lives, as well as Tony. Congratulations on his inductee here, and for Joey as well. We're very, very blessed to have young representatives in our community that in fact have done so many brilliant things. At this time, Joey, this sounds sort of familiar because you're going to come up and talk on behalf of Eric, and I did your induction a long time ago. Where'd you go? Oh yeah, you were there. So anyway, all right, so Joey Wines is going to speak on behalf of Eric. Thank you.
Twice in one day. Obviously, I'm not Eric DiAgusta. I'm about 125 pounds less, about 4 or 5 inches shorter than him. So I'll keep it short and sweet. He's a man of a few words, gentle giant for sure. But I am sure Eric would want to, congratulate all the fellow inductees. Thank all his former coaches, especially Todd Smith in wrestling. I know he really looked up to Todd, and I got to share a quick story about Eric. It was our senior year, and it was in the field house, and first time I ever saw Eric actually wrestle, and it was a dual meet against Beaver Local, and it got to the heavyweights, and it was Eric against, you might have heard of the name Derek Wolf. And I'll be honest with you, I've never seen a kid get manhandled the way that Eric manhandled Derek Wolf. It was unbelievable, and it was definitely fun to watch. So, thank you.
You're never really playing an opponent. You're playing yourself, your own highest standard, and when you reach that limit, it's a real joy. Arthur Ashe. When I was reading that, I was kind of thinking of Joey Cilone, and as the golfer in the golfer world, you kind of get in that zone. A lot of times it's you, the ball, the puck, see the ball, beat the ball type of deal, right? And it was kind of cool as I was reading through Joey's accomplishments, and to include, said, I believe a tournament low of 73 at the North Star Resort or Golf Club in Columbus. I actually have played there. He shot a 73. I think I shot like a 95. I only shot 3 holes though, so it's kind of the way that's the way that puppy went. But nonetheless, though, what a wonderful career at golf, and highlighted as he was down in West Liberty. Joey, congratulations as the next inductee into the Hall of Fame. Joey's presenter is Ben Wright.
I had the privilege of being Joey's golf coach for his 4 years at East Liverpool. First of all, I want to thank Joey and the Cilone family for thinking of me when it came time to pick somebody to induct him. The first year I coached at East Liverpool for golf was the year before Joey got there. We had a very successful season in which we won a sectional title. Most times people would be very happy with that, but I kept on having people telling me, just wait till you see what you have coming up. Like, you're going to be good for quite a few years. At the same time, I had my best player coming back from that sectional title team, and I'm just thinking, we won a sectional title. This isn't something that normally happens at Liverpool in golf. And I'm wondering, how good are these kids coming up really going to make us? And I have kind of this, I want to see it to believe it mentality. So Joey's freshman year rolls around, and we're having our first practice, and I'm waiting to see this group I have coming into play. I had been told plenty about Blake Prince, who had previously been inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I was told there would be others that will help out eventually. When this group shows up for the first practice without ever seeing them play, I'm thinking these scrawny little kids are what's going to make us better. I mean, I'm looking at them, and most of them probably didn't weigh 100 pounds. All right, well, it only took one practice, and I walked away thinking, like, this isn't just a one-player class. I knew it wasn't going to be eventually that Joey would help us, but instead it would be immediately. Instead, Joey became a fixture in our varsity lineup for the next 4 years. And of course, any of you that know Joey know that it doesn't take long for him to get comfortable and tell you what he thinks. It probably only took maybe a week for him to start talking trash to me every time we would play rounds together at practice. I spent 4 years having him and Blake harass me every time I would try to play a round of golf with him. Do you know how demoralizing it is to have a 14-year-old that weighs about 100 pounds talking trash to you, and you know there's nothing you can do about it because you can't beat them? All right. I dealt with that for 4 years. All right. As you can tell, I'm still trying to recover from that. Still to this day, they still like to remind me of that. However, other than winning, there was probably nothing that this group enjoyed more than spending time together and embarrassing me every single time that they won a tournament. And unfortunately for me in that situation, they won a lot of tournaments, so they had a lot of fun embarrassing me in front of all the different country club people that they could. Part of every celebration would basically be them trying to figure out what can we do this time to make him look uncomfortable in front of all these other coaches. They got really good at it. The winning and the trash talking continued for all 4 years, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. We had more fun than any golf team that we played against all year long. Over Joey's 4 years, the team accomplished things that no other team had done at East Liverpool. I believe that Joey provided the stability that we needed and helped to set the expectations that trickled down to the rest of the team. When I say stability, what I mean is I always knew what I was going to get from Joey. Even his bad days were better than most of his opponents' good days. Also, the moment was never too big for Joey. He actually seemed to thrive the bigger the tournament was. Joey actually at times would seem like he was bored with these regular matches and he wanted to play in the big tournaments. Let's see. As for setting expectations, Joey was always working on his game. His work ethic provided an example of what was expected if you wanted to play on this team. You could come out for the team, but if you expected to make the varsity tournament team, you better be willing to match his work ethic. The work ethic and the expectations that were created helped push the others to continue to grow and be better. Now, while we had a lot of success Joey's freshman and sophomore year, advancing to the districts each year, it wasn't until his junior year that we finally made it over the hump and managed to advance to the state tournament at Ohio State's Scarlet and Gray course. That year was a learning experience for us. We finished 6th, and while most people would be happy with that, Joey and his teammates were not satisfied. So the following year, I increased the difficulty of the schedule. Joey put in an incredible amount of work in the off-season. We were getting invitations from all over the state because of the expectations that were put on us, with most of our team returning. In that season, Joey helped to lead us to victory in every tournament we played in but one. In that tournament, the only teams that finished ahead of us would all also qualify for the state championship. That year, Joey also helped us back to the state championship. At the state championship, we had a very disappointing first day that left us somewhere in the middle of the pack. As a team, our chances looked very grim. So it was basically decided that, after a long first day in which I probably had to walk about 10 to 12 miles to keep up with everyone, it was basically decided amongst myself and the players that I would spend most of the day walking with Blake because we thought our team chances had kind of dwindled. Little did I know that while I was walking with Blake for those 18 holes, what was going on up ahead of me. What happened on day 2 is what makes me feel Joey was an easy choice to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was only able to check on him maybe one or two times throughout the course of the round, so I didn't really know what was happening. Joey ended up coming through with his most clutch round of his 4-year career as a Potter golfer at the state championship in the last round he would ever play as a Potter. He shot a tournament low 73 and was the main reason we were able to overcome and dig ourselves out of the day one hole that we had put ourselves in and become state runner-up. I've been involved in athletics as a player and a coach for close to 40 years. Other than coaching my own kids, this was probably the most rewarding thing I've been involved in and something I'll always remember. Now, the reason I spoke of the team accomplishments first is because first and foremost, Joey was a great teammate and always took as much pride in the team accomplishments as he did his own individual accomplishments. However, it wouldn't be right for me to leave here without discussing what he did as an individual on the golf course. Along with being a medalist in multiple tournaments over his career, he also earned all OVAC honors 3 times, was first team Eastern District 3 times, received all review honors 3 times, and eventually went on to earn a scholarship to golf at West Liberty, where he continued his athletic career and earned his college degree. However, no matter what he does, what I'll always remember is the fact that Joey showed up when it mattered most and shot that round that allowed us to accomplish something that no Potter golf team had ever done by putting us in second place at the state championship. All of these individual and team accomplishments make Joey Cilone what I believe to be one of the greatest golfers in East Liverpool athletics history and a great addition to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Joey.
Thank you for that. And I'll have one more opportunity here to embarrass you. It's Coach Wright's birthday today, so if everybody could give him a round of applause for coming out here on his birthday to present me, I really appreciate it. All right. So good afternoon, everybody. I am truly honored and deeply grateful to be here today as an inductee into the Potter Athletics Hall of Fame. This font's really small. This is a special moment and something that I've looked forward to for quite some time since I graduated. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, as most of us have, for all your guys' hard work. Also, congratulations to all the other inductees, and it's an honor for all of us. I want to thank my family, my mom, my dad, for all the support they gave me, taking me to so many different golf tournaments throughout the summer so that I could practice. It meant a lot to me. All the fans that came out and watched us, our family members, just friends that would come out and travel to Steubenville, Weirton, Columbus, wherever we were playing, they came out and supported us, and that really meant a lot to us to get us across the finish line. Coach Wright, I want to thank you again for coming out today and supporting me and, inducting me. My high school golf was some of the most fun that I had, whether it was, just at tryouts, on the way to a tournament, coming back from a tournament. We always had fun. You always knew how to pep us up if we were playing bad, give us some smart aleck remark, get your head out of your ass, something like that. And that was always, kind of irritating, but at the same time, it gave us what we needed. As I look back on the 4 years I had to play here for East Liverpool, I don't have a single bad memory. Even if we didn't win the state tournament, it was just an honor for us to make it there. And to finish second. I don't have any negative memories when I look back on playing for East Liverpool, and I'm honored to have gotten to do it and honored to stand here today and be a Hall of Famer. It's great. So go Potters, and thank you everybody for being here.
As I was reading the next inductee's bio, one, it's pretty doggone impressive, as all of them are. And it's probably timely because of all the stuff that's going on with the WNBA and watching that unbelievable show of basketball prowess with the men's team. It feels like Nikayla is our version of Steph Curry and Caitlin Clark. as I read through her ability to fire up three-pointers and get it done, but there's some astronomical numbers that you put together. Congratulations. You had a storied career, and I know, maybe you'll talk about it, but do you school the kids you coach at Salem? Oh, come on. Not anymore? Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present Nikayla Edgell, class of 2015, and her presenter is Bill Crawford.
Randy had props, man. I wish I would have known that. I had my guitar up here. Nikayla, thank you for inviting me to do this. It's an honor. And I knew Bob Shansky. I know Bob Shansky, and I was told 3 to 5 minutes, so I'm not even going to come close to the Shansky rule. But knowing Bob, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And yes, my son Jordan golfed with Blake and Joey, and what they say, what he said is true. Coach Wright was harassed heavily on a daily basis, and it was actually it was a good time back then. But and the Rice or the Tice family, man, that was very inspirational. Thank you for sharing all that. It was nice to learn about that. Great, what a wonderful man. Okay, N1K or Nick. That was a Swish McCoop's nickname that came about, and surprised to learn that Nikayla didn't really have a whole lot of other nicknames, and I also was happy to learn that that one has stuck. It's been like probably 10 years. She told me that the N1K nickname, Nick, her players, her friends, other coaches still call her that, so that's kind of cool. And of course, the 1K is 1,000. She is in the exclusive 1,000 points scored club. I was there that night. It was an away game at Crestview, I believe, and I was there with Swish McCoop's videotaping it, so that tape's around here somewhere. But what an accomplishment. I mean, think about it, 1,000 points scored. It doesn't happen very often, whether it's girls or boys hoops. And then actually, Nikayla, N1K, 4-year starter, ended up with her 1,380 points, school record, of course. But she wasn't just a scorer. She also holds the record for most assists in a single season. But and Nikayla was a motivator, a leader, a unique athlete, and not just a unique woman athlete, just a freak of nature type of athlete. And love you, Joe, but you stole some of my stuff. I was going to say that she was the Caitlin Clark of our time. If you think about it, back when she played, am I right? 216 3-pointers. That's nearly 50% of her total scoring, career scoring. Pulling up from 20, 25, 30, boom. Coach's dream or coach's nightmare, who knows? Depends on the coach, I guess, but Dad's dream for sure. How about that buzzer beater at Beaver Local? Mom's dream, of course, as well. Spectators' dream, hoop fans' dream. And something I was thinking about that defines Nikayla is the those shirts that you see them all the time. It says, some of you folks probably had them, ball is life, basketball is life. But that's not just a slogan or a tagline for N1K. It's reality. Basketball, at least the way I remember it, and still is, literally has been in her life. My family and I have known Nikayla since she was little, and playing hoops with my son Owen's crew, Cade, Joey, keeping up with whatever sports or shenanigans they got into, and not just keeping up, but competing. And ask any of them, they know, they're believers. That class of 15 was a special group, and N1K was a big part of it. Now flash forward to Nick coaching D2 Salem University to USCAA National Championship last season, and she's back at it again this season. Plus, and this one's the most impressive for me, her creation of the New Level Basketball Academy, very successful, highly respected organization, especially impacting young folks and their families. So that has a special place in my heart. She's definitely got her mojo working, always has, always will. And I think this is just a start. I'm sure I'm not alone in my confidence that Nikayla's destined for even bigger things. Just watch and see. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Swish McCoops, friends, family, Potter faithful, it's my honor to have been invited to present Nikayla Edgell, N1K, Nick, as member of the class of East Liverpool High School, class of 22-23 East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you. All right, so you got Ben and Bill. They should go on a tour together. You should have to pay for that. So I'm going to keep it short. My fellow inductees are kind of making fun of me because I didn't have a scripted, but most of the time when I have a mic in my face, it's usually after a loss, so I'm kind of stressed, so make this enjoyable. Thank you to Josh and the committee for inducting me. This has been a great event. I think, like Coach Calhoun said, there's some people who say, why is he or she in there? I saw a Facebook post that said that we look like we just graduated. I actually have gray hair, just so they know. So I'm supposed to be here, I think. I want to thank my family, my mom specifically, for all the support she gave me to be successful. I want to thank my coaches, teammates, administration. I know we haven't spoke too highly about Shinsky's speeches, but I did appreciate them before and after games. I want to thank my grandparents. My grandfather couldn't be here today, but if you know me, my grandfather's everywhere I am. So I'm wishing him a speedy recovery from a surgery. I want to thank Jocelyn and the kids for supporting me and being here today and just supporting every endeavor. When it comes to sports, I feel like I don't reminisce much just because it's kind of my livelihood. And I don't know how many of you go home and talk about work, but I don't really like to. But a couple days ago, my supervisor, he's from the Valley actually, and he said, what are you going to reminisce on? What are you going to say? And I said, I don't really know. And he said, well, when I called you to take this job that no one wanted, why did you? And I said, I'm not sure. He said, you took it because Salem's small, historic, and there's a lot of opportunity. And he said, I think you carry all those traits that you gained in East Liverpool with you, and you might not realize it. So I want to thank East Liverpool High School for instilling resilience, work ethic in me that came from all my coaches, teammates. Like I said, congratulations to the inductees. There's actually 3 of them, Joey, Lindsay, and Joey, Lindsay, and Austin I got to share high school with. So Joey, thank you for making school exciting. Your guys' golf team, that was exciting. Lindsay, all of her endeavors were exciting as well. And Friday nights were exciting because of Austin. So not to brag a little bit, but we were all in school together, so that's pretty cool. Lastly, like I said, it's been fun. Actually, this weekend has been fun being down at the facilities. They're great. Like you said, I think you said there's nothing close to cleats on the gravel. Well, there's no gravel anymore because it's nice and paved down there, and the turf is beautiful. So thanks again, Josh, for and the committee for having that tailgate for us and all this for us. Go Potters.
It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up. Vince Lombardi. When I look at the next inductee, again, just like the rest of the group, a significant amount of accomplishments, studly across football and basketball. I was looking at, Justin, you did the 800, 1600, and 3200. So did you just keep running? Sorry, 800 down, I'm at 16, now I'm at the 32. But when I look at your records again, just sheer accomplishments. And the one chuckle I got, and I'm sure everyone else got too, is that on the basketball court, you managed to steal the ball from LeBron. If you knew now what you knew then, if you knew then what you know now, you probably should have called timeout and just took a photo glimpse with that shot, though. Our next inductee is Justin Campbell, class of 2003. His presenter is Frank Dawson. So let's give it up for Frank. And come on.
Hey, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, I got you. Always got you.
Boy, what a wonderful group. great day. I want you to know I've thought about this speaking engagements, this induction of my good friend Justin Campbell for a long time. I thought at first I'd open something like this. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how would you feel standing right here, right now, wondering what in the world, a poor old, broken down, slightly balding, almost 90, not till next Wednesday. If you want to send cards, it's box 888. Undertaker from East Liverpool, Ohio, could say about my good friend, Justin Campbell, I feel great. Kind of like a baby that wets its diaper. Doesn't show much on the outside, but gives you such a nice warm feeling on the inside. But I do have a nice warm feeling for Justin. You've already read in the program his many, many accomplishments, but a few things you don't know, and most of these things center around the word, Joey, you'll like this word, food. The time we went to the restaurant, I forget the name, was it Steak and Bake or one of those big, and they had a line clear back to the end of the parking lot. Campbell tells them I'm the U.S. ambassador to France or something. And we had to catch a flight. So they put us I think they put us in the boiler room or something. and of course, I think we talked about Tony Metsch riding the train. Where's Tony? We talked about taking the train. Where is he?
Right behind.
Oh, he was hard to find. He was hard to find on the train. First we went to a playoff game in Pittsburgh. Then we got on the train, rode the Broadway Limited to Notre Dame, saw a football game, and came all the way back. Remember that one? We talked about it, you and Phil. And poor Gretchen, she's in the back. If there ever was a saint, it's Gretchen. She's way in the back. Ironically, she's a football coach's daughter, which makes her know more about the game than I do, which isn't really all that much. And of course, with the Juice, we went to the Fred Pryor seminar in Pittsburgh. It was on grammar and speaking and some of those issues, and we took the course together. Those were one-day courses at Swickley. We were in Swickley. I think all I remember was the lunch. But he got a lot more out of the course than I do. But the one thing, if those were there, it was September 25th of 2001. Youngstown ran. This young man took the hardest hit of any player I ever saw at Patterson Field, and I've seen a lot of them. He really, really took one on that. And I went back and looked at the notice of the story in the paper that says the whole East Liverpool High School football team was in the emergency room, and he just shook it off and came home. I think might have us one game. But those are the side issues we think of was Juice. But I want to, at this time, conclude by letting you tell me what you know about him. And I've got my friend John, who's going to distribute these cards, which I hope you get because they actually are in the back of a booklet written by one of America's great authors. I wrote this when I was 28 years old. Where's John? John, we're going to take, I don't know if it's an acronym or an acrostic. I don't know if you pronounce the capital of Kentucky, Louisville or Louisville. What is it? It's Frankfurt. It's Frankfurt. All right, John. Okay, we're going to start, John. We're going to take, and I can't see you, but so you're going to have to yell out a word that begins with J. We're going to spell the word Jew. What did she say? Give me a word that begins with J that stands for something of what. What did he say?
Jersey.
Jersey. How many guys here stole their jersey? How many still have their jersey? Is that what the jersey?
I still have mine. I didn't steal it.
Okay. So you still have yours?
I wasn't going to
Give that to Mayfield. He's got the. Okay, the next letter in the word juice is, this is a tough one that describes him. Unique. One of a kind. That means that if you're 1 in a million, that means there's 10,000 people just like you. Unique. Okay. Oh, we all went to Liverpool. We ought to be able to spell juice. Okay. I. Intelligent? Did you say intelligent? That's IQ. Okay. That's a good one. I've picked on this intelligent because I'm not very intelligent, but guy comes home early from work, finds some libations on the coffee table, accuses his warm cigars. She accused his wife of being with another man. He goes around, looks here, can't find it. He simply goes ballistic, goes over and throws the refrigerator out the window. A few minutes later, knock at the pearly gates. St. Peter, you're never going to believe this. I came home early from work, accused my wife of being with another man, reached over and grabbed the refrigerator and threw it out the window. But in doing so, I had a heart attack and died. Well, that's not very intelligent. A few minutes later, knock at the window. Guy says, you ain't never going to believe this. There I was, adjusting my necktie in a plate glass window, when out of nowhere came a refrigerator, hit me. Graveyard dead. But the third guy said the most intelligent thing. He says, there I was, sitting in this refrigerator. Okay, that's intelligence. All right, we got 2 to go. C. Competitive. You talk about competitive. You're talking about Justin Campbell. A competitive person, a giving person, a sacrificing person. And you think of the great people of all time. Jesus Christ, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, all people who competed and represented life at the very highest level. In the words of Winston Churchill, never have so few given so much for so many. Competitive. Okay, we got one more letter. E. Excellent. Give me one who, good. Give me one who tries to be the best. Blessed is a person who in this life can find a purpose to fill their day and a goal to fill their mind. Oh, the world is full of little people content just where they are. They don't know the joy that real success, that real excellence can bring. And they don't have a will to go that far. Yet in this life, there is a need for some right here today to lead the rest, to rise to heights we've never known. Or would this be too much to ask? This could be your year, a world to win, great purpose to achieve. If you'll strive for excellence and in yourself believe, you'll make us proud. And at the close of every day, you'll look back on battles won, real glad, real pleased you've come this way. Okay, we're going to get, John's going to help me. We want to get, can we get him on the stage, John, the 5 letters that have?
Yes. If you have a letter,
if you got a letter, come on, we're going to. They'll be seen better on the stage, John, if they come up here. Mayfield, you got, okay, two of them are already up here. Boy, they're fast. Let's go over on this side. We'll get okay. Now listen, you all went to Liverpool, so it's going to be hard to get you. Put the J first. UIC. Randy Calhoun. Guys, if I'd known you, we'd have fixed this. Okay, we got it. Let me hold them up so we get a good picture of it. Okay. J-U-I-C-E now. Okay, you got, did they spell it right? Okay. Okay, you all know the old locomotive. I want to hear it loud and clear for Juicy. Give me a J. J. Give me a U. U. Give me an I. I. Give me a C. C. Give me an E. E. What do you got? Juice. What do you got? Juice. One more time. Juice. Give them a hand. Thank you. And it's my extreme privilege, honor, to present for induction in the 2023 East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame, my good friend, Jody's husband, Emmett, Luke's father, Justin Campbell.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here and enduring. Thank you, Josh. He actually gave me the pass on the Robert Shkansky rules, so I have at least 1 hour, so settle in. It'll be okay. First off, I want to say thank you to Frank Digger-Dawson. I had asked him to introduce me with many coaches, family members, friends that could introduce me today. There's none other than Frank Dawson. He's been a mentor. He has been a life coach, and he has been a very good friend of mine, and I am so blessed and honored to call you my friend, so thank you. It is definitely a privilege and an honor to be up here today. When I was playing at Patterson Field, when I was playing in the field house or running on the track down the hill, I never once thought, could I be in the Hall of Fame? It was here that I just got the opportunity to compete. As all of these inductees on the stage and that couldn't be with us today, it was the competition and the love of the sport that has us here. So like many of these inductees, many of you in the audience may not remember anything about the highlights of our sporting careers. But I can tell you one thing that you may not know about me. I was never the strongest, I was never the fastest, and I was never the most skilled. But I can guarantee you that when I walked on that field or on that court or on the track, there was never going to be someone that was going to outwork me. And that is why I'm here today, is because of the dedication and the love of competition. My wife is also a competitive athlete, and at home, we praise this to our boys, that we don't have to be the best, we don't have to be the strongest, we don't have to be the fastest. But when we play, there is no one on the field that is going to outwork us. And I can tell you, Uno games after dinner are like the Super Bowl at the Campbell household. It is an honor and a privilege to be up here on this stage with so many wonderful individuals. They are not only athletes, but they are amazing humans, amazing potters. I'm going to end my speech with the way that we started it, looking at Frank Dawson. Anytime that we have a call, anytime we meet face to face, he loves to end with a witty little slogan and a Go Potters. So today, no matter where you are, no matter where you're going, if you're on the right track, you will get run over if you're just sitting there. Go Potters.
Okay, so that brings us to near the end of our program today. So one last round of applause for our inductees and presenters, please. This year has been very special for us as a committee because, I don't know if there's a lot of younger people here, but if you see the Titans of East Liverpool that are represented just in this room today, when you think of Jim Tice and Bob Duffy and Frank now being on the stage with us, and I look out and I see some others. I think I see Dave Kyle out there somewhere and some other folks that are members of our Hall of Fame, and just there's some huge names and legends in the audience today, and we're just so blessed to have you with us today. And before I have Joe Porter come up and give our final remarks, just some last-minute instructions for the attendees today. If everyone can assemble in the lobby for a few minutes afterwards, Jimmy Joe Savage will be out there taking group photos and then photos with the inductees and their presenters and the inductees with their families if they would like to do that. And if you will then direct your attention to the left towards the front entrance, we're actually blessed as a Hall of Fame now to have run out of space in the hallway lobby area, so we've now had to merge into the wall going into the home stands for the basketball. So go into the basketball court, into the field house, and on the wall, adjacent to where the ticket sales usually are, you'll see some plaques in there. We've got 6, I believe, in the hallway, and we've had to start now into the field house itself. We have so many tremendous student athletes over the years that we've run out of space for everyone. So those plaques will be unveiled for the first time, so all the inductees and their families can go out and see those when we're done here. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies, Joe Porter, for some final remarks.
All right. That was awesome, you think? Come on, I know you're out there. I can hear you breathing. All right, couple things. I hadn't been back in East Liverpool for a while since my mom had passed away 3 or 4 years ago. First time I saw Potter Field with the remodel yesterday, it was stunning. I don't know what, maybe you guys see it every day and just think that was stunning. I always thought we had, and still to this day, have the best high school basketball field house that I've ever seen. And I've been in just about all the states, but that football field and what was done down there is unbelievable. So just a high five to the folks who contribute, who help, who brought that together. Keep investing in our facilities, because that will help get our kids motivated to do the best, and we'll have more of them that will join this group. Real quick, just a couple things I did want to say before I shut it down, because I realize it's me between you and the rest of the Florida State game. There you go, that was a joke. Hang on a second, I got to track my eyes, I'm getting old. One day you won't be an athlete anymore. You won't have that training before competition. You won't have those long bus rides with your teammates anymore. One day you won't be an athlete anymore. You'll just have memories. Memories that are so sacred, so special, that no one can touch, but only angels can hold. And I hope today, to 10 inductees, that this day has been memorable for you, because you've created memories for the Potter sports world, and your accomplishments are unbelievable. Feel good about that. Make sure your family feels good about that. You've done great, and high fives to you. Folks, congratulations for being part of the greatest school system, sports system in the Valley. It's just unbelievable what Potter Blue can do. So without further ado, I'm going to close this out. Am I supposed to say a prayer? You can tell some of this Josh Knott is kind of winging it. So let me do the benediction, I guess. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the opportunity to get together. We want to thank you for the skills and the blessings that you bestowed upon us. We want to thank you for the safe travel up and down the highways and byways and airways to bring us here on this momentous occasion, Lord, to celebrate these 10 athletes and their families and their accomplishments. Continue to show favor to us, continue to show grace and mercy to us, and continue to bless the East Liverpool High School. We thank you for your goodness and your mercy and pray for your strength and your wisdom. These things we pray in your name. Amen. We are done.